I'm Kiwi,
And I'm Jarad.
and we are the two gentlemen, coming to you like a flower leaning towards the sun. Jared, how are you, mate?
That's quite perfect, really, isn't it? We've had rain and we've had clouds, and now I've finally got a bit of sun. I'm looking at it. And we are. We're stretching. We're trying to grow. We're trying to revitalize for spring. So yeah, no, very nice, mate. I'm good. I'm good. I've firstly apologies to our massive listener base for not being around for a couple of weeks. We tried. We actually both of us got sick one of the days. I think we were trying to navigate a day, and then yeah, it's just been a bit hectic with the end of winter sports for us, and yeah, a whole lot of things going on. So apologies there, but yeah, but look, I'm pretty good. All back, fighting healthy and fit. So how about yourself?
I've got one tiny little medical issue happening at the moment. I've started developing cauliflower ear. After all
Really?
these years, yeah, after growing up playing rugby and nothing happened at all, and 2 years of jiu-jitsu, now I've like just a bit over 2 years, it's just started. So I've hit a new
Yeah.
level of degeneracy. I started draining my ear myself with syringes. Yeah, I know when you start doing medical stuff by yourself at home,
Yeah, yeah. Good.
it's not a good
Good.
look.
Yeah, yeah. So I was going to ask, is it reversible? Do you have to just stop doing what you're doing? Because you see all those old footballers with it, and you're like, oh, surely they haven't played football for, you know, many years. Is it? So I feel like once you have it, you have it. Is that right?
Yeah, it's irreversible, but you could try to just get on top of it as it's starting. So
Yeah.
by draining the fluid, hopefully I'll prevent it from getting too bad. Like this one, I think it's probably just it's a bit too late, this particular little lump.
Mm,
But
yeah.
I've currently got some magnets on my ear. You can see them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're from Bunnings. I know, like I said, I hit a new level of degeneracy, Jared.
Yeah. Right.
And
Like the
yeah,
ear
I've just got
section.
yeah. As you know, Bunnings is known for its ear surgery department.
It's medical department.
Yeah, that's where I get my medical advice from, actually, the sausage sizzle.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm just
Uh,
clamping my ear with magnets at the moment after draining it. So we'll see if I can prevent this one from building up too much more. But I've currently been borrowing some headgear off one of my coaches, which is really generous of him. And I
yeah.
wore it yesterday for the first time, and it makes such a difference. So
Yeah.
I
So
feel
that's
invincible
pretty
with them
much
on.
that's your future now. Just
Yeah,
headgear.
yeah, I'm that
Yeah.
little guy, with the earmuffs on when I'm wrestling.
Well, that's I didn't expect to be talking about ear fluid, but that's solid, solid. I'm glad you're on top of it early, mate. I really am because I can you can just see as these old footballers get older, it's just like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
it's they're knocked around a bit. But I must admit I don't see it as much anymore. But yeah, maybe it's yeah, maybe the Bunnings treatments are helping everyone. But actually, I did see something, and I know it's not a dodgy thing, but when there's some things you can't do anymore that I don't know, you might look a bit creepy, or a bit dodgy. Like I saw someone using a payphone, and I'm like, they're up to no good, surely, like because of all the crime shows I've seen, like no one uses it. They got to burn a phone and stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm like, they're probably just, making a phone call. But, with everyone with mobile phones these days, not everyone, shouldn't say that, but, mobile phone saturated the market. You'd think, oh, everyone's got one. But, yeah, when you
Yeah,
see
what's this
someone
guy
using,
up to? Yeah.
yeah, a public phone.
Well, they are
It's,
free.
yeah, they are. Yeah, it's actually quite smart, probably.
So maybe the dude's prepay ran out or something.
Yeah, yeah, potentially, but he looked dodgy as.
We're
Didn't help he was in
profiling
a hoodie.
now.
He was in a hoodie, it made it
Yeah,
worse.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no. So that was my observation the other day. I'm like, oh, there's some things in this world, like, things you can't do in the dark too. You can't, like, garden in the dark. It just looks like you're, burying a body or something. It's just normal everyday things. But anyway, onto the topic, mate. I was thinking I had a little experience a few weeks ago, and it's something that's sort of probably been bubbling along, and I want to put it out there. It's completely on me. Um, it's something that I've I guess, watered and essentially made essentially made my own bed. And I like everybody, most people, like everybody that I know, absolutely want to give my kids everything,
Yeah.
and I don't want them to miss out on anything. We all have different means and amounts of ability to spend money and provide, but I'm talking about the things, the extra things. So obviously we provide food and shelter and all that, but the part that I'm talking about is the extras, the books and the toys and the, the extra slushy at 7-Eleven, things like that.
Yeah.
And I've made my own bed here, and unfortunately, I think I've gone a bit far. And I have to put the brakes on, because sometimes we go past the service station, for example, and it's like, can I get this? Can I get that? We go into a department store to grab, something. And then it's like, oh, can we get this? Can we get that? And that's not their fault. But how do we as parents, and, it's not just kids either. Like, how do we not spoil someone so much, but also show them that we want to spoil them? It's a really tough one, I find. I'm having trouble with it.
Yeah, I think every parent struggles with this, Jared. I struggle with it very much because we grew up Jared and I are from a lower socioeconomic background. We're from Blacktown. Things were kind of scarce when we were growing up, especially for my family. We didn't have heaps of stuff. So that scarcity mindset does actually affect you the way you grow up. I think
Yeah.
poverty kills people, not just because you're not eating properly, but also just the whole mindset. So
Yeah.
it is nice to be able to do things, whatever you want. For example, let's go out to dinner tonight, rather than saying,
Yep.
oh no, we can't afford it. We've already been out once this month.
Yeah.
That's not a really great
Yeah.
feeling when you're a kid. And I remember
Yeah.
growing up being worried about money. I was always concerned about how my parents were doing. And they
Mm.
did great in the end. Two people who came to Australia as refugees, couldn't speak English, they own a house.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really amazing. But it did affect the way I grew up. Uh, so yeah, it
Mm.
is a really challenging one. And the term spoil, I don't believe you can spoil a kid. Like you can't
Mm.
ruin a child by showing
Yeah.
them love and getting them things. I think it's when they don't understand the full process and the value of
Mm.
things, that's when
Mm.
things go wrong. My kids, there's a lot of things that they want that you would say are unreasonable, but
Yeah.
I haven't wanted to make them worry about money, so I've got those things for them.
Yeah.
And you could say that's poor parenting. Maybe it is. Like I'm totally fine with people, criticizing me.
Oh.
Like it's
Yeah.
there's no right or wrong here. But they are loving kids
Yeah.
and they're really kind people. So I don't know. Maybe it all balances out.
I there's a lot there I agree with, and it's and for me it's hard because it's potentially on the day, and which would be really confusing for the kids, like, because one day dad is available to, yeah, let's go in there and let's grab this, and the next day I'm like, oh no, I don't want you to turn out to be this adult, this person that expects someone to buy you stuff all the time. And surely I mean, I'm sure they're going to grow out of it, and they're going to develop their mindset and understand as they grow older that money isn't readily available. They can't just go out and buy anything they want straight away as soon as they want it. But I guess I go through that mindset sometimes, and some days I'm like, no, we're not getting anything. And I'm like, how confusing is it for them? It's it's a balance, between me wanting to give and then me wanting to give them advice, and a strong, process to follow through life. And yeah, sometimes I get confused. Sometimes, honestly, I put my hand on my heart and I get confused. I put my hand up and say, it's not something that I'm comfortable or I'm able to deal with, I think, consistently.
Yeah. I also like empowering kids. I like them to feel like they're part of the decision-making process. A couple of weeks
Mm.
ago, I went to the supermarket with my boys, just by myself with them, so no Erica. And I gave the shopping basket to my youngest son. and said, "Do you want to
Hmm.
hold it?" And he said, "Yeah, do you mind if I grab a few things?" And to me, that was so cute
Yes.
and so empowering that he's just wandering around the supermarket. He's like, "Yeah, I need one of these." And it was look, a lot of it was junk. Actually, I think it was
Yeah.
all junk. But I just thought it was so adorable, and
Yeah.
I loved that he was part of the decision-making process. He had power in
Yeah.
our family.
Mm.
I don't want to exclude him from any of that. When you talked about, like how do we prepare our kids for, when you can't have what you want, I think things will get real in a natural way. When the natural limit hits, they'll understand, and they'll
Mm.
just have to deal with it then. Like we can teach them now so that they don't throw a tantrum then, but they'll throw a tantrum now. But
Yeah.
I'll let them throw a tantrum whenever it actually happens for real. It's like, actually,
Yeah.
literally have no money right now. We can't buy that. And that's a hard limit. So I'd rather that happen naturally than me just impose it myself now and just go, oh, well, no, because we already had one yesterday.
So what I guess what I pick up is, yeah, we can prepare them for those moments in life as they grow older. But at the moment they're still kids, and they still don't, they don't work, they don't understand the money. Like, they get money, they understand it, but that sort of the understanding of, you can run out of it.
Yeah.
It's not just present an ATM card or a credit card and just go beep. That's actually money. And they're things that, I guess, like you said, naturally, I think I picked that sort of thing up when I started earning money.
Yeah.
I started working early. Like, I was working real early.
I remember you
And
doing night shifts when you were at school. When we were in high
oh
school,
yeah,
you were doing
yeah,
like really late shifts.
yeah. Like, I think the moment I was legally allowed to do any kind of work, I worked at the corner shop near our house
Yeah.
for 3 hours, of 6 hours a week,
Was that the
and
charcoal
it was
chicken?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and which I was working before anybody I knew was working. Like, when I say work, I was in I was a Tuesday and a Thursday night. I do 3 hours.
Yeah.
But at that point, I knew that, okay, I'm bringing money, and when I run out of this, then I've got to go to my parents.
Yeah.
So and I'm still not great with money, but essentially, I learned that money can run out, I guess, and
Yeah.
I think we can give the kids those tools to understand that, we can't just do this constantly. And that's where you do throw in the, oh, look, we went out last weekend. We went out for dinner last weekend. We'll stay in, or, we're not going to get takeaway, or whatever. But I think it's more like a light bulb moment for them, maybe, if we plant those tools or give them those tools.
Yeah. I think understanding your own relationship with money is really important. So Erica's got our eldest son reading a book at the moment called The Psychology of Money. You might have heard of it. I think it's pretty big at the moment.
Mm. I have
And
heard of it.
yeah, it's not investment advice or anything like that, but it's more just about how do you handle money and, what does money mean to you?
Mm.
And I think that's
Mm.
really important because you can have a really unhealthy relationship with money. There are people who have all the money in the world and it's still not enough for them
Yeah,
because for them, money isn't a tool to improve their lives. It's a way to tell other people that I'm so much better than you,
yeah,
or it's a way to get political influence or whatever. And I think it's really important that every individual understands what money means to them and how they use it. For me, money
mm.
is just a tool. It's just a means to an end. I want to just have
Yeah,
a pretty, what you'd call frictionless life. I'd like to, if I've got a medical problem, I'd like to be able to go down to Bunnings and be able to buy those magnets for my ear. You know what I mean? Without having to
yeah.
take out a loan.
With that over there.
I'd like, if your car breaks down, oh, I'd like to be able to, pay for that without having
Yeah,
to worry and, breaking the bank. To me,
yeah.
that's what money's for. I don't think you need it to lord it over people to
No.
prove anything to anybody. That's all it is to me, a tool. So I think if everyone can understand that, then their lives will be so much better. So
Mm.
I'm glad Eric has got our eldest son onto that. For my younger son, when the when you're the baby of the family, you kind of just
Yeah,
coast through. I know the feeling. I'm probably the worst with money in my family because of that very reason.
yeah, yeah.
But he'll get there when he needs to.
Yeah,
And for us, all of our savings is based on next year's ski trip because skiing's so expensive, and our kids know
yeah,
that. And we've just said,
yeah.
look, no,
December.
yeah, we're not doing presents for each other. This anniversary, this whatever, everything you want, just put it straight into the ski fund. So,
Yep.
and the kids understand that. And for me this year, it's Father's Day tomorrow, everybody, and my
Yep.
birthday's coming up. And I've said to Erica, this year, please don't get me a single thing for Father's Day or my birthday. I just want a ticket to the Bulldogs in the finals this year because I didn't get to go last year because the tickets are so expensive. And I was like, I can't. I'm not paying that
Yep.
much. But if I forego everything else, then I can go.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's my understanding that if I want something, then I need to budget for it, and that
Yeah.
comes over time.
Yep. Sure does. And I mean, I might be a little bit off topic here, but I suppose we're talking about so when we got obviously with your eldest, you buy things. You obviously you might get some hand-me-downs from friends and so on, but essentially, my eldest is at the age where she needs she feels like she needs, certain brands and things like that. Like, so we're not going to lavish her with every bit of Nike and Adidas shoe, but essentially, the idea is that, you let them have these things, and she saved up her birthday money and worked, did a little bit of work around the house for us, and we got a really good pair of shoes. And but my youngest, a lot of the shoes, like the netball shoes and the sports shoes and the things like that kind of get worn every day, because the eldest grows so quickly. We've got a lot of hand-me-downs, and and she actually said to me the other day, like, oh, I'd love to get a new pair of shoes. And you don't realize how much you actually, because we're valuing the shoe. It's not necessarily a money thing. Like you said, we could go out and get her a pair of shoes if we wanted, but the shoes that my eldest have left over are really good condition. And it's
Yeah,
like, well, like these are just going to sit in the cupboard for no reason, and then we're going to throw them out at some point, and you're like, we might as well use it. But my youngest is getting hand-me-downs because of that. And so we've got to be a little bit more conscious about, she's as valued as the
yeah,
eldest.
yeah,
And if she wants something, but it's an interesting sort of balancing act that you're playing, and every family does it. And we're a family of 2 children. There'd be families of 5 and 6 and
yeah.
7 children that you can't imagine the amount of hand-me-downs and stuff that you'd
Yeah.
probably be going through. But I just thought that was interesting. Sort of like, we value that piece of equipment, at a certain amount. Like, hey, we bought it, and it's been used for 6 months and it's sitting in the cupboard now for 12 months, and now you use it. But she blamed where it came from. She blamed an old pair of shoes because she tripped over at school. Didn't hurt herself too bad, just gave herself a bit of carpet burn, and
Yeah.
it was in the classroom, she's like, those old shoes made me trip over. I felt bad. Felt bad.
So did you buy her a brand new pair of shoes?
It's on the list.
Yeah.
There's still a couple of months worth of wearing those shoes, man. No. We are looking. So it's just a matter of just finding the right pair for her.
Look, I bought some new socks the other day. It's a good feeling putting on
Yeah,
a brand new pair of socks.
yeah, certainly is.
Yeah.
Really
So
is.
look, I don't blame your youngest daughter for wanting that, and it is a
Yeah,
different feeling if knowing that something is brand new as well. So
yeah.
our family, as you know, listeners, gets a lot of our stuff from the council pickup, but
Mm.
a lot. We've done an episode where I was fully decked out in council pickup gear when I was at your place, Jared, and I sent you a picture the other day of our latest
Mm.
find, which
Yeah.
was an amazing Breville coffee machine. It looked like it was brand new and it had all the parts out there. So I think the owner left it out there with all the parts trying to tell people, please take this, because they
Take
put it
it.
all out there very carefully. So it was all bundled
It wasn't
together.
just thrown into a pile. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I wanted to buy one for Erica for Mother's Day back in May, and she was like, "No, we'll find one." And it happened.
Here
She
we
just
are.
manifests reality, Jared.
Yeah.
She's
That's
a
amazing.
believer. But yeah, and now she's got this. She's replaced her old one, which is also council pickup.
Yeah, I
So
remember going to your place and you telling me that was the council pickup one, and
yeah,
then obviously I received that photo the other day, and I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous because our coffee machine's dying.
this is a really, really good one. Like, I don't know what it's
Yeah,
worth, but it's really good. So that's the way we shop in our family, and a lot of our clothes, like I said, council pickup, but also. Erica's got a friend who has bought her son a lot of designer stuff, and he's huge. He's so tall, he's grown out of it all, and that goes down to
Yeah.
my eldest son,
Yeah. Right.
and
Yeah. There you
he's fully decked out like an Esche.
go. That's funny. That's funny. But yeah, look, it's yeah, look, I'm no closer to finding an answer. But what I think, going back to my original point, like we talk about, I sort of branched off into other things, but I think the goal for me moving forward is just to be better and more clear for my children, just so they the expectation of material things, like little things, like I said, like your books and your toys and little bit treats of food and all this sort of stuff. I think I know I need to be better and more consistent with the way I deliver that.
Yeah. Yeah, consistency is everything. You just don't want to give mixed
Mm.
signals.
Yeah, every parent has their strengths and weaknesses around it, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I love that you always make it about your struggles, not your children. You haven't put this on them
Mm.
at all. And we are the grown-ups in the room. It's all
Yeah,
on us. We can't say, oh yeah, my kid just wouldn't leave me alone and wouldn't stop badgering me. We're allowed to say no. And if we can't
yeah,
say no, that's our problem. That's not their fault at all. We can
that's
never
right.
put it on the kids.
No, no, not at all. And not once, I said at the start, not once do I want anyone to think that, like I'm blaming them, because to me it's something that I've kind of created or made my own bed,
Yeah.
and out of love and out of out of all the right places. But yeah,
Look, I would buy my kids anything in the world if I could afford it. I would set them
mm,
up with everything. I don't have an issue with that. I think that's a cultural thing as well. I think some people like, no, you shouldn't give your kids too much. Once they hit 18, they should be out the door, making their own way through
yeah,
life. I've
yeah,
never been
yeah,
like that. My family's
no,
not like that. Erica's family's not like that. I'm very much everyone should help everybody if they can, like to the best of their ability, the best of their capacity. And,
yep,
for example, I find martial arts gear in council pickups. I pass that on to people in the group that I train with. For example, hand
yep,
wraps, things like that, that might cost $5 or something, but rather than them have to go out and buy it, I give that
yeah,
away.
yep.
And, I'm sure I could sell it to them for $5, but, as if I'd do that. But I would help anybody that I possibly could at any time. But
Yeah.
obviously, a lot of us don't have that capacity to help others in such a big way.
Mm.
But you know what? I can do it in small ways.
I think that's the key. Like you got to work within your means, like with anything. So it's if you can only, and I'm just saying it because you used that example, but if you can only provide those hand wraps as part of a thing, you're still providing something, and you're still offering and helping and doing all that. So for me, the concept is correct. You know,
Yeah.
does
And I
not
don't think we're
necessarily
ruining
mean
anyone by doing that. I'm not
no.
spoiling anything. I'm spoiling a person by giving them something. Hopefully, I'm liberating them.
Yeah,
I'm giving them some time and energy and space to be able to pursue
yeah,
something else. So I know a
yeah.
friend who was actually gifted
I like
an apartment
that.
by
Wow.
her auntie. Yeah, and she's much older now. Like this is a long, long time ago. She's a lot older than us, like many generations older. And she
Mm.
said, it really allowed her to just live her life the way she wanted to.
What a gift!
Yeah,
What a gift!
absolutely.
And
Absolutely. It's the gift of
and
security.
and
That's what it is.
and it sounds like she took it the right way. Like it didn't expect, like because she was old enough and adult enough to sort of process it and go and look at it for what it was, and not just like, oh, I'm going to get apartments like a kid would sort of, oh, well, tomorrow I'll get a new apartment, and like, but yeah, that's really awesome, and she was able to, you know, go through life with less of a worry of certain
E-
things.
Exactly. And she's not a spoiled person. She's not
No,
ruined in any way. She's a
no,
good human
that's a good
being.
point. That's a good point. So it's like going back to the point, it's like the foundations that we build in our children to be able to accept things. That's how they accept things, right?
Yeah,
It's,
exactly.
people are going to give them gifts for their birthdays and for Christmas and for just in general, if they're, you know, whatever happens through life, it's how you accept them. And yeah, I think I'm getting a little light bulb moment here. That's good.
So, Jared, the next time you're driving past a service station, your kids say, Dad, can we pull over and get that? What's it going to be? What's going to happen?
It depends if I want a slushie or not. No, look, honestly, it's for me, it's I've still got a lot of work to do on that. To be honest, I haven't got an answer because, to be
Yeah,
honest, like I may get that slushie that time, and then the next time I may.
yeah,
But for me, it's explaining and make them understand that if we don't, or not, the expectation isn't that every time there's a service station we get that. So because sometimes they're not even hungry or thirsty.
yeah,
It's just a something that's triggered in their head. Oh, there's a 7-Eleven, or
yeah,
there's a BP. So
yeah,
and again, I don't want to put it out there that I'm stopping at every service station and feeding my kids junk, but but it's the sort of, they ask because it's just what they expect, and it's, I guess it's been set up by the bet I've made.
yeah. As Erica would say, she'd say set loving limits. So
Mm.
rather than just say no all the time, have a reason for having a
Yes.
limit. And
Mm.
I'll give an example. We were coming back from a long drive. We were doing Melbourne to Sydney, and we didn't buy the right snacks for the trip. So we're like, okay, when we stop at a servo, we'll pick up those chicken chips.
Yeah.
They were $8 for a bag of chips, but
Uh,
we bought them because we said that we would.
yeah.
And to me, that's our fault for not planning appropriately. We're the ones that messed up there. We
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
we'd get it
Yeah.
for you and we didn't. Well, we've got to make it right.
Yeah.
And
We've
that's
got
the
to
cost of
adjust.
making it right. $8 for a packet of chips.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. You're like, you
And
better enjoy those chips.
I hope they did.
Yeah.
So there you go. And I think we made the right decision. Other people would say, no, you should have said to them, no, too bad. We're going to wait till we get to a supermarket and get them at a good price. But, we messed up. So I feel like that's, meeting our responsibilities there. Other people would say it's setting a bad example.
Well, it's your error essentially that caused that, right? So for me, that's, you like I said, you rectified it, and you shouldn't put your errors onto your children. Yeah, it shouldn't be their fault that you forgot to pack those chips or get those chips at the IGA at the supermarket, because it's, so you rectified it, and the lesson there is be prepared. That's the
Yeah.
thing you kids, like, well, you're going to lose an extra $4 because it was $4 at the supermarket and it's $8
Yeah.
at the servo, right? So, you got to pay double. So
And you
be
know what,
prepared.
Jared, like today I can still pay my rent. I can still pay all the
Yeah,
bills. So how much
yeah.
did that actually affect us in the end? We can
Mm,
stress over every last dollar and every
yeah,
little decision, but we're still here. We're still doing
yeah,
okay. I think of
yeah,
someone who's in a random tribe somewhere in the world, and if we told them our problems and said, I spent $8 on a packet of chips, but I've got, so much money in the bank, that hasn't affected me at all, they'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you stressed over? Like, what actually happened? And you'd be like, well, nothing actually happened.
yeah. Nothing happened. I'm still here. Yeah.
Yeah, and my kids are still healthy. That last chip that they had didn't, give them diabetes or whatever, that didn't push them over the edge. And I think overall, this discussion that we've had, Jared, I feel like it's vibes that we've got to go off when it comes to what are we
Yeah.
going to help our kids with? What are we going to give them? And there's
Mm,
going to be times where you're like, you know what, we've had such a great day. Let's finish it off with some ice cream. And you've
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you didn't budget for that or anything, but you know what? The vibes are just right. Let's go
Yeah.
all have some fun. Forget about like get whatever you want, double scoops, go for it. I don't care. Then there's going to be times where kids probably have had a bit too much sugar that day, and
Yeah.
you can set that loving limit. You can just say, "Oh, look, you've already had this froyo. How about we save that for next weekend?" And
Yeah.
hopefully they'll understand. If they don't, well, then that's time to have a difficult conversation. Like we've got
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
step up as parents and just go, look, I can
Yeah.
understand that you really want this and you're really hungry
Mm,
for it, but look, let's get it next week. And we've just got to
yeah.
be firm in that situation.
Yeah. 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 True. True. It's being, I think it's being it's being open. It sounds like you need to be more open to them, and like I said, there's not just a no. It needs to be you need to involve them in the decision.
Yeah.
And make them make that call, and then eventually, not make them make that call. That sounds like I'm like, but allow them to make that call for themselves when we do drive past that service station or go past that department store to go, oh, I won't get a book this week because I got a book. I bought a book 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And so the goal is for them to regulate that themselves at some point.
Exactly. Yep.
Mm.
Jarad, thanks so much for this chat. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. I hope you can relate to this in some way. I'm sure you can as a parent. We've all had these challenges. Please get in contact with us if you'd like to and give us your opinion. We'd love to hear it. Jarad, thanks again, and hopefully I'll see you next week.
See you, buddy.